Husband in love with my sister. I'm pregnant with our third child. We've been together almost 12 years, married for almost 6. Due to COVID, my college-aged sister came to stay with us for 2 months to finish out her college semester online off campus and to spend time with my kids. Today, I found out my husband wrote her a love letter and made a handmade wooden box for her, complete with an embossed inscription for her birthday. I've had a weird gut feeling about a variety of little things over the 2 months, but nothing I could put my finger on specifically or put into words. 2 weeks ago, I found them talking late into the night, 5 AM, when I woke up to go to work, and especially since it was like the 3rd or 4th time I told them, it made me feel weird and inappropriate. They teamed up at the time to make me feel like my feelings were hormonal, crazy and paranoid. I confronted husband and he denied being in love, but that he certainly has feelings for her. They swear nothing physical happened, and I believe this aspect of it. Sister says she does not reciprocate his feelings, and that he first told her he had feelings in March, but she didn't tell me this at all. Husband said he told her this to try to get it out of his system and get over it. She said she felt like, because he said he was going to bottle it up, that she felt it wasn't a problem anymore. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt and going with she's just that naive, but my gut feeling is that she borderline encouraged it, wore crop tops all the time around the house and really tight leggings and etc., and didn't actively discourage it because she probably liked the attention. Is this marriage even salvageable and worth going to counseling for? My 26 female boyfriend, 27 male, ran off in the middle of the night with our newborn son, 2 weeks male. We had the baby on a Thursday and came home on Saturday. Roses. Everything was absolutely beautiful. Our relationship had never been stronger and we were so happy. More in love with each other and with the little one than we thought possible. On Sunday we decided to pop a bottle of champagne. We both haven't drank for 9 months. I have 1 glass and he continues saying we can get drunk now. I didn't want to get drunk, but did not discourage him, since we hadn't drank in months. We used to drink together nightly. He ended up quite belligerent by the end of the night, and it resulted in tears on my end, since he was acting out of character. The next morning he sincerely apologized, and said that, if he ever got drunk like that again, he would stop drinking. That evening rolls around, and we have a glass of wine with dinner. I did not want another, but he continued to finish the bottle, and another. Drunk again, more tears. I explained to him, while he was drunk, the conversation we had the night prior about him not doing this, and he broke down, and came to bed, and promised not to again. After a week of being home, my mother begins to travel to us. We live in Co. She lives in New York, to visit us for 2 weeks, to help get settled with the baby. This visit has been planned for 5 months, and was not a surprise. In the 2 days she is traveling, my boyfriend begins to transition from happy new father to protective new father. It is a difference, but he is very confident in his new role and feels that his life has changed, and he is very happy. My mother arrives at 8 AM on a Monday, and proceeds to say hi to us, although quite exhausted, and goes to sit on our porch to decompress after 48 hours of travel. My boyfriend comes to me and says that she was disrespectful when she arrived. I question him and say, I'm pretty sure she's just tired, let's let her rest, and then we can all have a conversation about boundaries and more once she's rested. He agreed and moved on with the morning. I didn't think anything else of it. At around 9:30 AM, 90 minutes after her arrival, she passes him in the kitchen, and he raises his voice and exclaims to her about how she will not be disrespectful of him in his house and more. I begin to bawl and beg him to stop. My mother, completely taken back, goes outside crying. My boyfriend is livid, I can see it in his eyes. I try to calm him down and go to check on my mother, who I then try to calm down. He comes outside and asks to speak to her, and I leave them alone. Hindsight, should not have done this, and after about 1 minute, my mom comes back inside yelling and crying I'm done, and tells me she is going to go back home. I try to speak to both of them, but I can't stop crying. Had a baby 10 days ago at this point. My mother packs up to leave and does. My boyfriend thinks he has done the right thing and protected his family unit. I'm devastated that my mom is gone as I wanted her help and guidance with the newborn. He is confident in his decision. In the next 2 days this confidence does not wane, and he says he had to hurt me in this situation to maintain his family. We went to bed around 11. We had argued some earlier in the evening, but when bedtime rolled around we were actually on good terms and I went to sleep pretty hard because of that. I wake up to a stranger shouting my name, and I look over, and the baby is not in his bed. I run out, and a policeman is in my house. The shower is running. The door is open. The policeman informs me that my boyfriend took the baby and ran out of our apartment building and to a house up the street and rang their doorbell. The officer asked me to come with him, and he took me to the house where my boyfriend went. There were many officers outside asking me questions about different things. The consensus was that my boyfriend thought someone was going to kill him, so he took the baby and ran. The officers took me inside the house, gave me the baby, and then let me know they were taking my boyfriend to the hospital for an evaluation. The officers took me to a hotel for safety. The hospital ruled the case a mental break, and that he was fine. He seemed fine when I picked him up, and we went home. As the day went on he got more and more paranoid, so I called the police. When he went to work, he insisted that I had bugged the house, that the neighbors were in on it, that my mom called our pediatrician, and more. The police suggested for us to separate for the evening and he stayed home, and the baby and I are in a hotel again. What should I do now? He is continually paranoid now. I have a baby to protect. I don't feel he is being rational in our home. Please help. Thank you for reading this. Eater. Overwhelming response. I did not expect this. The baby and I are safe. I called his mother who is now traveling to come get him. I called my sister who is planning to come now once he is gone from the house, so she and I can go back together. Thank you all. This has been the worst week after the best week and I'm exhausted. I turned to Reddit to rationalize what I was thinking, since I don't have people to talk to outside of the situation. Thank you for the responses. Found out that my daughter, 16 female, has been scamming people online for money. 46 female, married with 2 children. 16 female and 15 male. Need an outside perspective on this situation. My daughter doesn't have a job, but does get a decent allowance, so it didn't really hit any alarms that she had money to spend on makeup and clothes. In the last few months she made several large purchases, including new video games without asking for any money. My husband and I confronted her about where she had gotten the money from. At first she gave a vague answer about saving, but when I pressed the issue she admitted that she was making money online. She has been claiming to be a psychic and charging people to contact spirits. She showed us her Facebook page where she contacts her customers. At first she clearly thought the whole thing was a bit funny, but my husband got very upset about it, at which point she shut up and started insisting she sincerely believes in this. I really, truly don't think that my daughter actually believes she is psychic and can commune with the dead. I'm not sure how much difference it would make if she did, but I'm honestly quite sure she is deliberately tricking these people. My husband got very angry, which is unusual for him, and told her she should be ashamed for taking advantage of people, and says she is going to be grounded. I looked through some of the Facebook chats from her psychic page and I'm honestly at a loss for words. One woman had recently had a miscarriage and wanted my daughter to contact her lost child, which she had apparently done twice and charged money for. This wasn't a single event either. The chat log goes on for several weeks, in which my daughter assures this woman that her son loves her, he doesn't blame her for what happened, and his spirit is waiting for her, etc. And that he'll talk to her again if she wants, and pays for it, presumably. There are some others, but that one stood out most to me. My daughter is such a lovely person with a big heart. She is kind to everyone. She is the girl who always has to give money to beggars on the street. She volunteers at the animal shelter. I cannot see how she doesn't have a problem with taking money from vulnerable people in this way. I would like to talk to her about this, but unfortunately my husband reacted very strongly and now she is refusing to consider discussing the issue at all. She keeps claiming these are her true religious beliefs, and we are attempting impinging on her faith. For the record, I'm agnostic, but I don't care if my children want to believe in ghosts or spirits, and I would support her in that. She's been a bit into new age ideas for a while and I never had a problem with her talking about chakras or spirits or anything. to my in-laws. I'm no longer human. How do I approach family gathering? I could really use some advice on how to approach the tense situation with my in-laws. Here's the backstory. Me and my husband have been married for 8 years. We married when I was 20 and he was 30. Up until 2 years ago, I had a pretty okay relationship with my husband's parents. They came here from India and have tons of culture that I've done my best to learn. They are Muslim, so I've learned and display their greetings, traditions, dress accordingly, and try to not step on anyone's toes ever. But 2 years ago, my sister-in-law and her husband, my husband's brother, started having big issues. My husband's brother texted me, asking me to come pick up his wife, saying she was going crazy. She doesn't drive, and is a very conservative Muslim. I of course picked her up, and drove her to a park to talk. She was beaten. She had broken ribs. She told me how he tortured her. I went home, and told my husband. He texted his brother to confront him, and he admitted it. I chose this as my first and only time, to stand up to my in-laws. I offered to help her go to a woman's shelter, find a lawyer, give car rides, anything I could think of to help. I had her call police during beatings, and this caused my husband's parents to resent me. They blamed me for causing drama by encouraging her to stand up and seek help. I did not back down. My husband's brother then stalked me. He threatened me to my husband, would drive by my house, try to trick me to come over to his house, fly drones over my house. I cried for help. He is a convicted violent felon, and I feared for my life and my children's. My husband said his brother wouldn't hurt me, but was just mad. That made me feel more unsafe. I called my in-laws and begged them to have their son stop this. They laughed. I ran away with my kids out of state until my husband bought us a new house. But my in-laws still resent me, and I resent them. When at family gatherings, they don't greet me, they don't look at me, I'm not a person. Because of this, we choose to not see them very often anymore. But now, my in-laws have called my husband and want to visit him and the grandkids soon. I want to say no, but I don't want to be a controlling partner and pull my husband away from his family. That feels abusive. How should I approach this? Edit to add status of SIL. The police were involved almost every other day for a few months during this time. They were not able to do much. She would keep calling, but wouldn't press charges. A photo of her tied up was even given to them, and they just told my BIL to untie her. DCFS was involved with their children over this. My BIL ended up going to jail for 4 months for a separate violent assault on a Good Samaritan, who was helping at a car accident scene, hitting the man with his car multiple times, all caught on his dashcam. During the court process, he then stalked the victim's wife, adding another charge. During his jail time, she taught herself to drive, get a job, and filed for divorce.